I was horrible at sales when I first started. I didn't think it was important. I thought that people were going to enroll in my coaching packages simply because I was a good coach. Not the case. As I progressed with my skill at sales, one of the things that arguably the thing that benefited me the most on an internal level is the story I told myself about myself. See, there's this stuff. Okay, it's called conflict language in vocabulary. It's a subset of the English language that people use accidentally to make more drama in their life, to force themselves to focus on worst case scenarios, to play the blame game, to create excess indecision. And most people do it by accident, simply because they haven't learned about it.
Yeah.
And it's when someone tells themselves a story about, how, it's so hard to get ahead these days, or no one respects me, or, she needs to give me more credit, or he needs to listen to me more in meetings. I'm making certain kinds of mental imagery. Or here's another good one. I think I'll start networking one day. There's some indecision for you, soft talk. We send ourselves into stress responses, also known as sympathetic nervous system responses. And when I or you or anyone listening to this podcast goes into sympathetic nervous system response, stress response, guess where our breathing gets trapped? It gets trapped in our upper chest. And I don't care what you're selling and how valuable it is and how much the person that you're pitching to needs it. When you are talking and you are in a stressed state and your breathing is trapped in your upper chest, you're going to sound like an amateur.
Yeah.
You want to sound 100%. You want to sound like a pro? Get your breath down into your abdomen where it belongs. You will sound different. You will have different. You'll have a different ability to inflect. You'll own the pauses. We used to do a lot of presenting. Now it's pretty much on Zoom calls and everything like that. And in our level 2 certification, we teach presentation skills. And that's one of the first things that we talk about. Where are you breathing? Where are you breathing when you're presenting? Where are you breathing when you're selling?
I like this because I think that we don't even consciously think about that when you talk about this conflict language, just even where it's coming from in our biology, in the sense when you're saying, we see conflict and naturally our nervous system or our amygdala is going to respond, and it's going to put literally physical changes in us. And it's now that you bring awareness to it, it's see it all the time in myself, in conflict in marriage, in conflict in leadership, and conflict in whatever that is. I totally see that come up. So do you just kind of say, hold on, let me make sure my intake goes all the way down real quick as I'm thinking, let's make sure that everything goes down into the deep abdomen, and that just step one?
Potentially step one. It's going to be in the top 3 for sure. Allocating some of your mental real estate from time to time to pay more attention to where you're breathing and how you're breathing is going to benefit you in, I'll go ahead and step out on a limb, every aspect of your personal and professional life. Let me ask you a question, Sam. This is a layup. How important is good listening when it comes to selling?
Extremely important.
It's extremely important. When someone is breathing in their upper chest, whether they are not prepared, which is a major source of stress, or they're telling themselves a story that nothing ever works out for me and I've got all the proof, and I'll bring up the reticular activating system here in a hot second because that's important. And they put themselves in a stress state and they're breathing in their upper chest. It's known as amygdala hijack. You can look that up. And when someone goes into those stressed states, their ability to listen goes down. We've all had the pleasure of trying to talk to someone who's very emotional at some points in time. Okay. We have language in our language to describe that experience. It's like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah.
Okay. They literally can't hear you. And when you're selling, you want to hear everything as much as possible. And when you're breathing well, you're down regulated, and you're going to be able to pick up on a lot of the stuff that the amateurs will miss because they're too consumed with themselves.
Nugget. Write that down.
Yeah, that's a thing. That helped me so much. And what I've found is that I set my breath for the sales call and I talk less. I listen more. I ask better questions. I'm more creative. When you're breathing well, you're going to be more creative. And there is a creative aspect to selling. You've got to be able to creatively counter your prospective clients' objections. You know, you've got to be able to have the right information at the right time. Okay, because it's sales, you know. And you know what? Let's get real about this, folks. At a high level, sales is art. It's an artistic, creative endeavor, and done well. You know, people want to be sold. That's how I see it. They want to be sold. It's like somebody wants to be seduced. You know, nobody wants to be asked out on a date by someone who's horrible at asking people out on a date.
They want to make it feel like, yeah, they want to be like smoothed, and it's like
Yes.
experience, and it's like they didn't even know it's happening, but they're just engulfed and enveloped in this whole interaction. And
100%, man. And you make it smooth. You make it. You nail the transitions. When your breathing is good, you're just. We have a saying in our coaching community. Good breathing equals good coaching.